in the police. It's so different from before.
Yes.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hey, Mary.
Hope y'all got to enjoy a little bit of the beautiful spring day.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Lovely.
A little bit warmer. That'd be nice.
We're getting there bit by bit. Looks like everybody's here. Always a good thing.
Mary, when we come to 4C, the affordable housing moratorium, I have something I like to read into the record from Alice.
Okay. Yeah, I saw her letter. That was good.
Did you? Okay. Okay. Yes.
But yeah, absolutely. We'll let you read it. Go for it.
Yeah.
And just a quick question before we really get into, for 128 Federal Road, that public hearing, is the correct term of what we're going to do? Are we tabling it? So when we make a motion, we make the correct motion.
Yes, I would table it. Yeah, and not open it. Correct. Yes.
Okay, that was my first guess, but I just wanted to double check. All right. So 7 o'clock, are we good to go?
Good.
All right. So good evening. This is a regular meeting of the Zoning Commission. It's May 13th, 2021 at 7 o'clock. We're on Zoom. I'm Mary Cappiello. With us tonight are Tony Fernandez and Leslie Ruggiero, and alternates Frank Kwok, Phoebe Holmes, and Kurt Timmerman. Since we have two commissioners absent, Frank Kwok and Kurt Timmerman will be voting members tonight. All right. And the review of the April 22nd minutes. Did anybody have any comments, corrections?
Nope. I make a motion to approve the minutes from our last meeting.
All right.
April
All in
22nd.
favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Did we get a second for that?
Oh,
Second.
Thank you.
sorry, I'm just out of the starting blocks on this one. All right, so we are seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Any abstentions? All right, we've approved the minutes. Zoning enforcement officers report. Fran.
Sure. 107 Stony Hill Road. He's still working on cleaning up the property. This is right on Stony Hill. He's got the big retaining wall in the front right there. He's slowed down a little bit, probably because of summer work's coming, but he has been making progress, slow but sure. But I'm continually monitoring this property because this has been going on for a few years now, and I think it's coming to a point to where it's just got to, come to an end. So, but I guess we'll address that when it comes to that point. 55 High Ridge Road. I was Sereno residence. He had a bunch of unregistered vehicles. I was told he's got a car dealership somewhere else. I did an inspection out there, 5/1, and the cars were all gone from the property. So I'm going to remove that from the report. 16 Willow Run, Juliana residence. I got a complaint from a neighbor that the gentleman has a rooster out there in the morning, crowing at 5 o'clock in the morning. Neighbor was upset about it. So I did send a letter to the property owner, and he did come in and say that the rooster had been there for at least 7 years or so prior to the old regulations. It was there, or the new regulations. So anyway, he brought a letter in, signed it and everything else. And he's stating it was there prior to the regs.
We have a pre-existing rooster.
Pre-existing non-conforming rooster, correct? Yeah.
How long do roosters live?
I don't know. It depends on the neighbor. So, going to the cease and desist list. 16 Old New Milford Road, the Driscoll residence. This is that one right next, over by Federal Road, across from that restaurant that was there, Ramen Noodle, right behind there. He finally called. He was out of town. He was in Dallas, Texas, working, supposedly indicates. He does have a building permit for the machine or to do work. He's got to replace the foundation on the property and stuff. He does have a valid building permit. It was approved this week through building and myself. So he is using the machine to excavate to replace the foundation on the building that's in front because it has a blue tarp all over it. It is blighted. It's on the blighted list too. But he is coming before the blight panel on the end of the month of this month. So I will continue to watch that right there. 8 Candlewood Birches, Henderson property. They had 2 sheds on the property. Mrs. Henderson was in on 4:30. She's been working with me diligently to get this approved. She's going to ZBA on June, I think it's June 6th or 7th of this month or next month coming up. So she is making progress, and that's good. That should be no problem at all. And then 89 Wisconsin Road, going residents. I know I did a letter to them. I gave them 30 days from talking to the commission last time. So they have, till May 26, 2021 to remove everything, to get it off the property. Otherwise, I would suggest if it's not done by that time, then we just move forward with enforcement. So that's about it. So, but I think we have another meeting either. I think it's, I don't know if it's before or after the 26th, but
I think it's the next day, the 27th.
okay. So and I'll wait I'll see what happens on the 26th. If there's no response, then I'll go to the commission and ask you to take action. So.
All right,
Mhm.
thanks.
Yep.
So everybody received the correspondence, and I know there was one, Fran, that you wanted to highlight.
Yes, and that's in regards to the 4C, the Affordable Housing Moratorium. And this is to the Brookfield Planning and Economic Development and Zoning Commissions from Alice Stu, Land Use Director. Affordable Housing Moratorium. This is dated May 11th, 2021. Brookfield has had a moratorium on affordable housing for the past 4 years, from July 2017 till July 2021. This was possible due to the large amount of affordable housing that was created previously to 2017. Since that time, Brookfield has added CHFA, CHFA funded units at Brookfield Village and individual affordable homes on Howell Drive. The prior 2017 moratorium created reserved HUE housing unit equivalent points to 40.25 combined with 88.75 HUE points from Brookfield Village and 3.75 points from affordable homes on Carlin's Way for a total of 132.75 HUE points. The required points for the moratorium are 131.75 for Brookfield. The required points are based on 2% of the total dwelling units in Brookfield, 6,562 dwelling units as is the 2010 census. Brookfield has applied for another 4 years of moratorium. This is currently a very diverse range of housing below the market rate that met the affordable housing requirements for a moratorium. Brookfield Village has the units that range from 25 to 60% of the area median income. Some of the existing affordable housing locations are Townbrook Commons on Abbey Road, Brookfield Crossing, Mill River Views, and Orchard Place Apartments. Howell Oak and Brooks Quarry, when government-assisted tenant rented assistance CHFA and deeded restriction units are taken into account. Brookfield is at 5.62% according to the 2020 Affordable Housing Appeals List. There are several affordable housing projects that have been approved but have not yet been constructed, such as 49 Federal Road, 468 Federal Road, 632, 636 Federal Road, and the town of Brookfield has also created zoning regulations to allow for affordable accessory apartments, which we have. The next 4 years will give Brookfield an opportunity to create an affordable housing plan, which is required by the state by July 2022. Would be valid for 5 years and take it through the town, take the town through July 2027. The affordable housing moratorium would end by July 2025. There is currently a great deal of debate and discussion over the change of affordable requirements in the state of Connecticut, and the moratorium would allow Brookfield to plan and coordinate efforts to create a cohesive and workable affordable housing plan. Thank you.
All right. There are no continued public hearings tonight. There was one public hearing on our agenda for 128 Federal Road Z-21-26 for retail and commercial building. And that was the one we were waiting for them to file new paperwork per Attorney Neil Marcus at our last meeting. He mentioned that to us.
Yes.
And Michelle Nicoli of Artel Engineering Group LLC sent Fran an email today reiterating that desire, that we put this on hold until the new application comes through. So at this point, the best thing for us to do is probably to literally table it, which I'm assuming would need a motion.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to table application Z-21-26 to our next regular meeting.
Second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstain? All right, so that is tabled. All right. Old business is 83 Federal Road, Z-21-8, site plan modification for proposed food truck at Exxon Mobil Station. Is there someone here? I can't see everybody on the Zoom screen at one time.
I
No.
don't think so.
Did I send you the email from them or no?
I saw the email. I just didn't know if someone was appearing tonight or not.
Yeah, no. They're indicating that they have enough parking. Again, I mean, a map looks good, but until I have it in hand to make sure that the parking spots are comply with our regulation. I mean, it's hard to say.
No, is that up on, it's not up on the web, is it? So I think you just shared that with me and Mary. So we'll share that, but they added parking spots to the existing site plan. And a bunch of diagonal spots, 2 blocking the garage doors, another 4 along the left edge as you look at it, and maybe a couple near the truck. But as far as flow through the parking lot, I think it's something that the police and the fire department will have to go back and look, because they have to get fire trucks through there, especially a gas station if it catches fire. And if there's cars parked there, I don't see how they would be able to do that. So I think they have to weigh in, and we have to forward that plan. And I guess we just got this today. So
You did tonight. Yeah.
just like last time, they sent it on the day of our meeting, but we need to get feedback from our professionals.
Sure.
Right, and just because they draw a little rectangle saying it's a parking spot, did they measure it? Is it a
Yeah.
legit parking spot? I mean,
And they didn't increase the size of the handicap spot, and I'm a little surprised because it was a site plan drawn by an architect, and I don't know if he actually looked at our zoning regs and the standards for traffic flow and for fire departments and stuff like that. So it didn't look like it. It just looked like he just plopped down a bunch of rectangles.
Yeah.
And yeah, I can put a lot of rectangles down, but I'm not sure I guess personally, I feel it's still unsafe, but let's hear from the professionals. And so could you, Fran, send it on to the fire marshal and the police?
I will. I'll help Nina do that tomorrow. So.
Okay.
yeah, and then I guess hopefully after that, we can clear this one up because it's been on the agenda for months now.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
one reason or another.
And the main thing was they needed more parking spots per the regs. And a couple of choices were to go and lease some next door or to get a variance. And they decided to try to fit some in on the property itself. So that was their choice. And I guess we'll have to work with that.
Yeah,
So-
it's tight over there. I drive by often and every time I look, it's tight.
Very
I
tight.
don't like the Volvo out there with the signage all over it. I've gone
Yeah.
back and forth with him a million times about this. He's got the signage all over. He had to park at BJ's one day, and I just, it's like, I hate to say it, but it's like beating a dead horse. That's
Yeah.
what I'll say.
Well, he's got to mow the lawn too.
Yeah, it's-
You should put it on the plate.
All right, so I guess we'll see where that comes up next time.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to continue 83 Federal Road, application Z-21-8 until our next scheduled meeting, pending input from the fire and police.
Second.
All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstain? Okay, we've continued this to May 27th. Terrific. And new business. We have 777 Federal Road Z-21-43, special permit for nonprofit organization called Reach Newtown, Inc. Their public hearing can be scheduled for June 10th, 2021. We just need that motion.
I'll make a motion to set the public hearing for 777 Federal Road Z-2143 for June 10th, 2021.
We have a second.
Second.
Got it, Leslie? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstain? The public hearing will be June 10th.
So I
June.
And 117 Old State Road, Z-21-46, special permit application for use of a daycare center called Growing Seeds Academy. Their public hearing can be set for June 10th, 2021.
I'll make a motion to set the public hearing for 117 Old State Road, application Z-21-46, formerly known as a Craft Basket, for June 10th, 2021.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed or abstain? All right, we have that public hearing coming up on June 10th. Next, 537 Federal Road, Z-21-42, special event permit for JJ Stacks to have outdoor music. Is someone here from JJ Stacks?
I guess not.
No.
Fran, have they had outdoor music before there?
She was approved for acoustic. It was for the barbecue place.
Yeah, RW's.
Yeah, no, after RW's,
Oh,
the beef
When?
jerk place.
Jamaican place?
Yes.
Oh.
Jerk joint?
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, approved for acoustic only. So, but yeah, I'm surprised he's not here. So I don't know.
Yeah, I wonder if he thought he'd join later, thinking he's so far down in the agenda.
He was on the email for the I know for all the information. So
He says live music, but did he indicate whether it be amplified or not?
he did not. My last conversation with him was he didn't want to give a schedule because he wanted to make sure that it would be approved first by the commission.
Oh, right.
The commission's going to want to schedule number one.
Yeah.
You need to come talk to the commission. So,
Okay.
but if he doesn't show prior at the end of the meeting, then we'll just table it or continue it to the next meeting.
Yeah.
Maybe we can give him a little time to,
Yeah.
in case he's just a few minutes late, because we are moving through the agenda pretty fast. So.
Yeah. So why don't we table it for now?
Yeah.
For this meeting?
Okay, you want to just table it till the end of the meeting or? 'cause-
Yeah.
Okay,
Until if he shows up. So I make a motion to table 537 Federal Road, Z-21-42 till the end of the meeting.
Second.
all right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed, abstain? All right, so we'll hold this off to the end of the meeting, just in case he still comes. So that's tabled. All right, and there's one more, 9 Gallows Road, Z-21-48, application for a single-family home with accessory apartment. That public hearing can be set for June 10th, 2021.
Now I'll make a motion to set the public hearing for 9 Gallows Road, Z-21-48 till June 10th, 2021 meeting.
Second.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Abstain? All right, that public hearing will also be June 10th. All right, well, I was gonna say there are no tabled items, but we did just table one. So we'll just, I guess, should we give him time till after the informal discussion even?
Yeah.
All right. So informal discussion, 468 Federal Road, Dan Bertram might be back to talk with us
Yeah,
about that.
yeah.
Is he here?
Yep.
Oh, awesome. Hi.
Yep.
Boy, everybody sees little rectangles on the screen. Where's?
Absolutely. And based on looking at the agenda at 7:18, it's amazing that we're on formal already. So I'm glad I tuned in. So thank you for allowing me to come back. Really just wanted to follow up on what we had talked about at the last meeting, and we've done some work to, I guess, forward the analysis of the site that I basically, might I share my screen? I can show.
Sure, let me just make you a co-host and then you'll be able to share.
Great, thank you. And I think everybody was here last time, right? In terms of just, yeah, I just want to make sure there wasn't anyone I should be
You're all set now.
setting with. Okay, great, thank you. All right, so let me put up the, let's see. So here, this is what we had created after the last discussion. And what we're comparing it against is this plan. I should probably show this first for a minute, just to refresh. There's a building on the approved site plan here, and then there were 5 across the top of the ridge, and then 2 more over on this side of the site. And so what we wanted to do is bring it in and make it a little more compact, and then do the unit mixing that we had talked about last time, where we were going from the 112 units to what was 137 is what I'd given the architects, and they actually needed something that was divisible by 3 with the way these buildings are set up. So we ended up at 138, so it's not a big change, it's just 1 extra 1 bedroom. But let me show you, I'll go back to, excuse me, the footprint here of what would then be 4 buildings. And so 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here that would be up across the back of the site. We took this region down to 1 from 2, and then consolidated these 5 into 2 buildings, which I think will be much more attractive as you're going by on Federal Road there. And the other piece that we had discussed, and I'm just trying to help visualize it, again, only in 2 dimensions right now, but the idea of landscaping the neighbor's back hill there above the retaining walls that went in. And so this is a first level tier planting plan, and then another one that's on their property, but really would make for a much better entrance than is currently approved for. And so this tree lined entrance here, these features, this buffer area, or I should say this part right here, some of it's wooded now. And so to the extent it had gaps, then we'd be kind of filling that in to give it more interest when you look, you know, off above the retail building that's there and see these structures. So I think design-wise, it's a nicer thing to get it into fewer buildings from my perspective in terms of curb appeal and the like. And in terms of integration, I will show you kind of how it fits in with the overall Barmbek project. So essentially we have this main entrance here. There's a sidewalk that comes down the side. We put in a new one across the front of Nordex, but this gives you a sense of scale. So that Barmbek South building here, the L-shaped building, and then this is all in the same scale. But I thought this would be helpful to kind of visualize the overall vision of pulling it together into you know, one community, if you will. So in terms of the gross parameters, all of it's the same as we discussed, where I said don't go over the approved rentable square footages. I think we have 212 parking spaces versus 206 maybe, and the approved plan, if I'm off by a couple, it won't be more than that. But other than that, we're really basically saying let's, you know, stick with paint within lines and try to you know, have the project I guess look similar to what we've already done and integrate it. So it's more of and oh, I should say one thing. This is as far as the process really could go in the time that we had between meetings. I just wanted to kind of give a status update. It kind of starts with an exercise like, let me see if I can pull it up. like this, it kind of is in very rough form, right? And the architects say, okay, this is the number of units that can go over here, and kind of massing out the whole thing. And then CCA was able to get the files from the other developer's engineer and then integrate it into a more complete presentation that we see. But we definitely are staying away from the wetlands in the same way, and having, there's some fine tuning in terms of what you see from the residences in terms of not looking out over the cemetery, right? There's some enhancements to the livability of the project that I think are important, and how you orient the ones behind the retail is also important. So I was happy with what the team came back with along those lines, but I'm here to kind of solicit input more than than just keep talking. So
the this is Kurt Timmerman. So the number of bedrooms went up by one?
Yes, by one.
All right.
And so I think I've got that maybe here. But actually, no. The number of bedrooms is actually down by, is still down. It was one of the metrics that we weren't up against the limit on. And so the number of bedrooms went from 186 before to 177 now.
Oh, all right.
So the bedroom count is lower. The parking is, I guess I was right on the 206. 206 is what's approved now. We need 211 and a half. 200, you have to round up to 12. But it's really the same thing. I think the parking is better delivered. There are fewer retaining walls, actually, in terms of gross area of retaining wall on the overall site, which I also think is a nicer, looking thing. And the more you can make those things efficient, the more you can actually put the landscaping money into things that look nice, as opposed to just, technically retaining walls are landscaping, but, they're not really beautiful, right? So I'd rather have living landscaping, right? Type of thing. So.
And the building massing you did, was that, partially economic and partially look, the design wise, how it looked?
Yeah. When you get into, let's look at what we have here. So see, this is what's approved, right? And so when you have a building that has just those straight lines over the whole length of it, it's just not visually interesting, right? And so it even though these elevations, it looks like it's not like that, it really is, right? It's just kind of different materials being used on one big flat face, right? And you get a little bit of jogs here. On our program, even though it's not very far along, you can still kind of see what the differences are there in terms of just, there are different jogs as you have different unit types. And we could maybe flip a building around so it's not got the same bump at the same interval on this side, just put it on the other side. There are a couple different things we can play with to just make it a little more sophisticated. These three buildings are largely the same, but they are, they're designed with this in mind. You only have the 2 bedrooms on the outer corners, because that's a nicer. There are a few things that just drive the design. I guess I should leave it at that. And then this building back here was more kind of like the plug, make it work with what didn't get covered in the first 3. But actually, I was kind of happy with how it all came together. So it's a smaller building up here, but a lot of what drives the width of the buildings is just having that underground parking where you come in and have to be able to turn each way to park. So there are certain things that drive the design.
And
go ahead.
Well, the planting on the neighbor's property, you would go for an easement in order for that to be allowed and for you to upkeep it?
Yeah, I think we would. I agree with the easement part so that we can go back and spruce it over time. I agree that that's got to be maintained. So yes, and I think that I have not spoken to the owner of that property, but I was talking to different people who worked for him. Manny, I guess is his name. And everybody says he's a reasonable person. And I know as a real estate guy, if somebody calls me up and says, I want to clean up the back of your retail building and, you know, maintain it into perpetuity, and it's not going to cost me anything, I'm going to say yes. So I don't think that's much of a stretch to assume that, you know, that we'll get, you know, an okay on that.
Right.
Yeah. And by the way, here are 130 new customers in your backyard.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I agree with that for sure. For sure. And yeah, and so from the standpoint of the process, what I kind of had told our team was, get me this to come back and see what feedback, you know, anyone had pop into their minds. Again, this is an informal discussion, so there's nothing really that is, you know, that'll never die about any of this. It's just, I then said after I met with you tonight, if we weren't having any showstoppers, then we greenlight some like building elevations so you could see, and maybe do a perspective shot or two so you could see what this would look like, you know, in elevation form, because I think that's another part of it that helps in terms of feeling comfortable about what we do.
I mean, I personally like the idea of massing, you know, fewer buildings. And like you said, the facade, you know, moving in and out, because that's what we basically asked for in the town center district. So it creates an interesting look. Yeah.
Yep. Sure. Okay. Well, we're setting speed records this evening. But yeah, I'm all ears for any other feedback. Otherwise, I'd come back in a couple of weeks with some pretty pictures if we're okay so far.
I was very curious to see the elevations, and I understand why you held off on doing that. But that's what I'm curious at seeing. It does look cleaner with the fewer buildings. If I had any complaints, I feel like I'd be nitpicking. So I don't feel like sharing that. Honestly, I think that you did a good job with the time that you had. So I'm curious to see what the elevations show, how the buildings will look.
Sure. Okay.
And this kind of goes hand in hand with that moratorium extension we want, because you'll, in essence, be bringing even more affordable units just because of the numbers of, you know, number of units versus number of bedrooms. So actually, I'm not really sure how they count affordable, if they count units or bedrooms, but if they do units, that helps us as far as getting.
Yeah, my belief is it's units.
Okay.
So, but yeah, no, I'm with you, and we would. I don't know what your filing date is on that stuff in terms of the request for the extension, or if that's already all long since done. I don't know, but yeah, we could come in, because I guess one of my questions would be if everyone's liking this, and maybe it's a little bit of a lawyer's question too, just in terms of what the process is. Is it an administrative review? Is it a public hearing process? There are a couple of things that you know, I would want to work out for a subsequent thing if everybody likes the elevations next time. And I don't need to know tonight. I mean, basically it is what it is. I'm just trying to know what the expectation for process might be.
Yeah, I think we'll talk with the chairman when he gets back in town and
Sure.
see, you know, site plan mod, or since this is affordable housing, you know, public hearing. Yeah, so we'll have to get back to you on that.
Yeah, no problem. I have plenty to do for the next meeting, but then after that, it'll be kind of like, okay, what now? If you like it. So.
Yeah. Oh, and the foliage you're going to put on the property abutting, or is that going to be in the elevations? So if you have a view from the road or from the parking lot in the front?
I don't know how far. What happens is they really. Those are generally architect driven, and then they try to strategically pull for the renderer. you
Right.
know, this landscaping plan, and they'll bring up a tree or two.
Right.
Often what you find is that the architects are mad when you let the too many trees come on and you can't see the building anymore. And so it's always a little bit of artistic discretion deployed on any of those renderings, right? That you'll see on any project. Because yeah, the 10-year like full grown thing, you often can't see the whole building,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I will say probably when we're doing the rendering, I'll be pointing out kind of it's captured this belt of things, but because we're at different elevations,
Yes.
it's a little hard to get all of that into one shot and without really breaking the bank, you know?
Yeah. I guess if the tool allows it and accommodates elevation and point of view, then that would be pretty good.
Yeah. And I'm kind of thinking that this shot right here, like this perspective, hang on, like looking at it that way
Yeah.
would be a good shot because that's both driving by, coming up the entrance, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think that's probably a high value perspective, right?
Mm-hmm. And maybe one coming the other direction and coming
Yeah,
from
maybe
the top,
maybe-
looking southwest. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
something like that, like at this part of that building, and then
Yes.
Yeah. From the road. Yeah.
You know what?
okay, yeah. So that's what I'll say. I'll say that this is number one, and that's number two. So then you get driving by, you get a sense, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Exactly.
Okay.
The,
And then I would like to say no mas because these are expensive.
Yeah.
but I'm happy to do it for the next meeting. So
I just wanted to share too that I think the sidewalk aspect of this, making it friendly for people to walk down there, is important to me, just because you have amenities in the front, and then we know a grocery store is coming in a little further up the road, and you're putting in 1-bedroom apartments. So I could see, you have younger active people who want to walk and not drive places, and it's just a unique property. And now I'm realizing how unique this is. So I feel like the walkability of this is important to me.
yeah, no, I'm with you. I think it will be cool that way. I was
wonder how
having trouble zooming in though. Sorry, go ahead.
I wonder how far, because there's bus stops all up and down there, but they're not, it's just a sign. There's people constantly crossing the road all over the road. So I'm curious where the nearest bus stop is, because the sidewalk would be a really nice feature for that if it's nearby there. But I'm curious to back up to the process, because wasn't the other property the other design was for affordable housing also, right?
Yeah.
So this isn't really a question for you, Dan, per se, but I'm just curious about whether it would be just a site modification if we have to do a public hearing, because it's.
Yeah, I guess it's depending on how much it changes.
Okay.
You're going for a different number of buildings, so we have to. I think since the square footage is not changing, maybe we could get by with a site plan modification. Of course, it'd have to go through wetlands again because now the buildings are in different places, and Dan, you had mentioned you had looked through the files, or CCA had, so they already know what Wetlands was concerned about.
Yeah, and what I basically told them along those lines was don't change any of the parameters that go with wetlands. So it's possible that if we don't have changes on what's interacting with the wetlands, that we have to do anything more than just update them on the revised zoning site plan. Because I think there's certain rules for impact as to whether or not they have to reopen the file.
Yeah, and we have a table.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
We have a table that we look at, depending on how much has changed, and that triggers either a site plan mod or a special. So we'll have to look at that reg.
Gotcha. Okay.
I think just to button that up, I think it looks great, and I think this is a huge improvement over what was before. So, I can't imagine that this would be an issue. I guess the only concern is the wearing, with the neighbors, that you guys went through last time. Most of us were not on the board then, so.
I wasn't around either. but I think, from my perspective, it's kind of like an A/B test. It's like, here's what you got already, and
well, that's better. I was going to say that too. It's like, well, you didn't like this, and that's what you were going to get. is this better? Because something's going there one way or another, right?
Right, yeah. I'm
And
not
this-
gonna build the other thing, but somebody else might.
That's right.
Right.
And this
Right.
being more consolidated is just so much, it's cleaner, it's efficient, it looks good.
Mhm.
Dan, could you go back to the Excel spreadsheet, please?
I'm sure. Yep,
Okay, I see the number 177, but I'm looking at the box all the way to the left, about before and after.
yep.
Uh,
That's a unit count box here. So 112 to 138. And then this is a bedroom count, 186 to 177. So 177 is the bedrooms after.
Bedrooms, okay. Okay, that's how we achieve that. But square footage, to the point that was made, square footage overall has not changed at all?
Right, so this one is where my Excel sheet isn't perfect, but your approved square footage for the net rentable square footage is 109,560. That's this number up here.
Mhm.
Then if I go over to what the architect had put together, we're at 108,600 in this table here for the rentable square footages. I had certain assumptions I was doing on my initial cut that were different averages per the unit types. And she's got some bigger efficiencies than I had. She has a couple different things, but it's a little more of a modern program that fits the design units that we have in other projects. And so those are modules that they kind of put together to create the shape of the overall building.
I see. Okay, thank you.
Sure. So,
Right?
so I'm reporting to duty to work on renderings.
We like pretty pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
Okay.
excited to see
All
them.
right. So I'll get those two perspective shots, and I'll see you guys in a couple weeks.
All right.
All right,
Thanks,
sounds
Dan.
good. Thank
All
you.
All
right.
right, thank you, Dan.
Thanks, everybody.
All right, so this is good. We should just double check if anybody came from JJ Stacks while we were chatting. Nobody?
No.
Well, it's gonna be hard. Can't really do too much if they didn't come, right?
All right. So I make a motion to continue the application 537 Federal Road Z-21-42 to the next scheduled public hearing.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstain? All right, we'll take that up again, hopefully May 27th, which is the date of our next meeting. Were there any comments from, well, could be
Oh,
Fran or the commissioners?
Before Fran goes, there was some, we had given a special event thing for Twins Barbecue. They're going to have music. And I happened to be driving by when they were playing their music during the afternoon. So I turned around and went up to Barnbeck and went into their parking lot. And I could barely hear them. When traffic went by, I couldn't hear them at all. And then I asked, I saw a young woman and her parents come down. I asked her, she lived there, and she didn't even realize anybody was playing over there. And it turned that the building, the medical building, tends to block a lot of the sound anyway.
Okay,
They're pointed straight at the Barnbeck. So I don't think that's an issue. That parsonage house for Prince of Peace, I think it's Prince of Peace, that's pretty loud there. So I hope he likes music.
All right, good to know. Yeah, definitely. And I just had one thing, it's kind of a little bit off topic in a way. Just to remind people that the referendum is coming up May 18th and we can't vote at the normal Huckleberry Hill School. High school's fine, nothing's happening over there. So the voting location is St. Marguerite's Church instead.
right.
So if you know anybody on this side of town that they're like, oh no, wait, why can't I vote at the school? Well, there's a lot going on at the school right now, as you can tell if you drive by. So just let people know that voting's at St. Marguerite's instead.
Yep, thanks, Mary.
Thanks, Mary.
I have something to announce. I think only Fran knows right now, but I am moving out of Brookfield at the end of the month, so I'll no longer be on the commission.
Oh my God.
Yeah, next meeting is my last meeting.
Ah,
Very sorry to hear that, Tony.
Grass
You
is
will be
greener.
missed.
Thank you. I really am gonna miss this, and I feel like I learned a lot in general, but it's really been a great experience for me. And I think for newer members, you'll find that you're gonna gain so much from this. So I can just tell you guys I did, and I appreciate everything that I learned here and the people that I met. And I just want to say thank you to all of you, even Phoebe, you, Leslie. I mean, newer people, you guys are all teaching me things, and it's really been a great experience.
Well, it's definitely our loss, but I hope you find an awesome place for your lovely growing family.
Yeah. I tried to stay in Brookfield. You know, I tried to take advantage of the market, but there was just nothing available, so I didn't have a
Where are
choice.
you headed?
Just to Newtown. I'll be right on the Brookfield border, but it's just how it worked out. You know.
Oh, we'll still be neighbors, Tony, because
Yeah,
I'm
there you
right
go.
on the border myself.
I told all my Brookfield friends, I said, I'm still invited to the Brookfield parties. I'm
Yeah.
not They agree. Mhm.
And then you
Well,
meet a whole group of new people, and then you'll be invited to Newtown parties too. You'll be so busy.
There you go.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yep, get on the zoning commission there to show them how it's done in Brookfield.
I think with the babies, I'm gonna take a break for a while. It's
Smart.
tough. It's like it's always
Fair.
bath time right now, and you know, it's not fair to my wife. So I'll be
Yeah.
taking a break for a while.
Best of luck.
Glad to have had you on the board.
Definitely.
Sure.
Great.
All the best. All the
Nice
best.
to meet you.
Yeah, it was nice.
All right. Fran, did you have anything?
I have nothing.
Whoa.
Whoa, you
Whoa.
With Eric not here. Wait till Eric hears.
He's saving it for when Eric gets back.
That's right.
I'm not sure we know what to do without no parting the last words from you.
Yes.
No, I'm good tonight. Everything's
All
good.
right.
Great.
I guess you need a motion, huh, Mary?
I
Motion
guess
to
we
adjourn?
Second that.
Okay.
Okay.
All in favor?
Bye.
Good night.
Bye.
All right. Good
Bye,
night, everyone.
everybody.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.